Today's video is sponsored by SimpliSafe. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. So welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. It is way too hot to be working in the Woodyard today. However, I got to get some things cleaned up and organized. So I've been working on some other things, but I come down here every morning for about an hour, hour and a half, come back down in the evening, work a little bit, and I'm making some progress. As you can see, we've got wood everywhere. This pile right here is a mix of red oak and walnut is in the back. There's some saw logs in here, firewood poles. So what I'm doing, I'm cutting things to length, prepping logs for the sawmill, and cutting the rest up for firewood. But I'm making some progress. I am. But this pile right here, this is really nice stuff. All red oak right here. All really good logs. This one down at the bottom here has got a big crack all the way through it, but I can work around that. And we are painting the ends just to kind of help prevent checking a little bit. I have some anchor seal as well. We use that, just latex paint, whatever we have laying around, we use to paint the ends. Sometimes when you use a solid color on certain species of wood, you have to be careful that you don't make the pith disappear. Like this is the center of the log right here. You want to see that on both ends when you put it on the mill and get that centered up. But with this red oak, you can find it on every single log anyway. So these will be all ready to go for the sawmill. I'm not sure when we'll get to them. They're all 10 feet 6 inches long. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'm going to start a pile of 8-footers here soon as well. But yeah, I'm getting excited, because we're going to be pouring the floor in the pavilion here pretty soon. And that is going to be a game changer. Once that floor is poured, probably the lower half of the pavilion will all be used just for stacking and stickering lumber. And when you have a nice concrete floor to work off of, I'll be able to stack those lifts 2, probably even 3 high. And we'll let it air dry in here under roof for a couple months. And then it can go directly into the kiln. And I'm just trying to streamline our operations a bit. In other words, instead of like pulling a log out of the pile, cutting it to length, getting it all ready to put on the sawmill, you know, 1 at a time or 2 or 3 at a time, I'd like to have all this organized. So, you know, when I want to saw red oak, I can work out of that pile. I'll have a pile of walnut. We're going to get some cherry logs soon, and I'll have everything I need right here all ready to go. And then instead of sawing, you know, 2 or 3 logs at a time, we could come down here for a few hours and rip through, you know, 5 or 6 of those red oaks and get everything stacked and stickered. So it'll work good. But anyway, right now the hunt man and I are going to head out for a little bit, and I'll report back in about an hour. So Hunter and I got back a little bit ago, and Melissa, she has been on a mission. She has been cleaning out, well, she started with the attic. She cleaned out the attic, and then she moved on to the garage. Some of the stuff of no value she has thrown away. Other stuff she's just been putting at the end of the driveway with a free sign on it. And it's actually been pretty nice because Eva has a bunch of nice clothes that she doesn't wear anymore. And like yesterday, for example, there was a mom and 2 daughters came, and they got all loaded up on stuff. But there have been people stopping on and off all day long for the last 3 or 4 days. Now Melissa has moved on to the garage in the house, and she's into some of my stuff, but she asked me what this was. Do you ever see one of these? This is a non-L starter, is what this is called. I used this in my blasting days, and she actually found 2 of these. We used to buy these from Ideal Supply, and the way it works is this. We would use non-L tubing, which stands for non-electric tubing. It's like a plastic tubing, and it would go in this little hole right here, and you would fire it by dropping this hammer, and it would go bang. And what makes it go bang is a 209 shot shell primer, which, look at that. That is probably from the last shot that I shot as a blaster about 12 or 13 years ago. I can't even remember now. But that's what this is, non-L starter. Put your shot shell primer in there. Put it in here like so. And then you can run your tubing through this hole and loop it around so it doesn't fall out the end. I never really did that. But once you put your primer in, stick the tubing in, it's all ready to go. The tubing, you could actually hold it in your hand when it's detonated. It's not going to hurt you. It's just plastic tubing with a small amount of explosives lining the inside of that tubing, and it kind of flashes through there, and if memory serves me, I think at about 7,000 feet per second. So it's not like detonating cord. We use that as well for like pre-split. Detonating cord, you don't want to be anywhere around it. It's like high explosive rope, basically. But yeah, this was used for non-L tubing. I got a funny story about this. I was working down in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania years ago, and there's a Walmart there, and we were doing all the blasting for that job. I actually worked a lot around Waynesburg, PA, but anyway, we were pretty close to Interstate 79, and I may have shared this story before. So the interstate's pretty close by, so we had to stop traffic on 79 whenever we blasted. Well, to do that, you had to get the state police involved. We had to pay them. Plus, there was like a clover leaf there. So it took probably 7 or 8 troopers to come out for us to stop traffic on the interstate so we could blast. So we get this shot all ready to go. And one of my guys that worked with me, he had just gotten his blaster's license. And he never shot a shot. I loaded it and everything, but I said, you know what? You can shoot today's shot. Pull the trigger. Literally, pull the trigger. So I gave him my non-L starter, and I gave him a box of 209 shot shell primers, and we had the whole shot ready to go. And I went out on the highway with one of the troopers to kind of coordinate the traffic stoppage, right? So they had to do like a rolling roadblock, and they get traffic stopped, and you blow like a 5-minute warning and then a 1-minute warning, and then you shoot the shot. So we're all ready to go, and I tell them to go ahead and shoot, and we don't hear anything, nothing, you know. And I'm calling them on the radio. I'm like, what's going on? And I heard him say to me, you didn't put a thingy in the shooter. He said, a thingy. a 209 shot shell primer. He goes, "You didn't put a thingy in the shooter," he yells. And this cop's just looking at me. He's like, "What's that mean?" And I explained to him. He goes, "That guy, like, is he like allowed to do what he's doing?" I go, "Yeah, he's licensed and ready to go." So then he called me back and said, "Okay, I got one." And then we shot the shot. But that's the worst feeling in the world as a blaster when you pull the trigger, whether it be if you're firing electric or non-electric, when it doesn't go off, because something could be terribly wrong, or it could be something as simple as there wasn't a thingy in the shooter. But yeah, this brings back memories. She found 2 of these. I don't know if I said that or not. Plus, we find a bunch of nips, we called them. They're basically wire strippers, but just for blasting wire. And found a bunch of pairs of those. Now, I hadn't used them in a long time because that's when we used electric, and then we switched mostly to non-L. But anyway, that's the story on that. Earlier, I mentioned that today's video was sponsored by SimpliSafe. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. If you have been watching our channel for a while, you know that we take home security very seriously, and our SimpliSafe system is the key component to our security plan. Now, you may be surprised to learn, but according to FBI property crime data, most break-ins happen in broad daylight and they spike in the summertime. I guess thieves and criminals don't like to work in the cold. I don't know. SimpliSafe is comprehensive security for the whole home with advanced sensors and cameras to detect threats from break-ins to fires, floods, and more. With 24/7 professional monitoring, SimpliSafe agents are ready to spring into action to keep you safe, promptly assessing the situation, contacting you, and dispatching first responders to your address, even if you're away or unable to respond. It's award-winning home security. It was named among the best home security systems of 2024 by U.S. News World Report, and that's 5 years running. You're never locked into a long-term contract. You can cancel at any time. Their pricing is transparent and affordable, less than $1 a day with no hidden fees. With Fast Protect monitoring and Live Guard protection, SimpliSafe agents can act within 5 seconds of receiving your alarm. Via the Smart Alarm indoor camera, these agents can even see and speak to intruders in real time, stopping them in their tracks. Since they have eyes on the scene, they can confirm the emergency and pass critical details to 911 and get you a priority response. Now, we've had our SimpliSafe system now for a little over 4 years, and we absolutely love it. One of the things I liked most was the ease of installation. I had the entire system up and running in a single evening, and you can do it yourself. You can also choose to have it professionally installed. I did it myself. Bottom line is this: we love our SimpliSafe system. If we didn't, I wouldn't be here talking to you about it today. Save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for a Fast Protect monitoring plan and get your first month free. Visit SimpliSafe.com/Morgans to customize yours. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. So that was a pleasant surprise. That worked out better than I thought it would, but I found another use for the Top Dog firewood bucket. I use this bucket to load out bulk firewood out of the wood bunker. We also use it, you know, to come out here in the woods, fill the whole thing with rounds. It's a huge bucket. It holds a lot of firewood, but I had this pile of topsoil out here and I need some back in the yard. And I thought, you know what, I would probably get some roots out at least, but that's actually pretty decent stuff. Obviously, not as well as a topsoil screen, but just screwing around for a few minutes, I got all these roots, all of them, gone. That's a lot less raking that I'm gonna have to do. I'm not gonna do the whole pile. I'll use what I got ready here first and then just kind of keep working through it. But yeah, that works out really well, actually. You know what I'm saying? You go over and dump this in the yard, spread it out. You don't want to have to, you know, rake all those roots like that. This is pretty nice. A little rocky here and there, but it'll grow grass. That is, if it ever rains again. I'm sure it will at some point. Oh boy, we got company. Axel's crying because he's glad he knows me. Arch, what are you doing, brother? Where's your mom at? Archie, where's mom? So the food plot is, it's doing pretty well. I had hoped it would do better, but the deer are eating it as fast as it grows. You see that dust cloud behind? Oh boy. Ooh. He's like a wrecking ball, that one.
Yeah, he really is.
Pretty warm day for a hike, isn't it?
You know, it's actually kind of okay walking the trails.
Yeah, the woods, it's a lot cooler.
It is cooler.
Is Piper with you?
Yeah, there she comes.
Hey, Pipe!
Those two run up and...
What are you doing?
He must be king of the mountain. Look, he must be higher and taller. Heading back to the house.
All right, don't forget Piper.
Come on, Pipe.
Pipe, let's go.
Pipe.
right, I got 15 logs stacked up so far. Tomorrow we'll paint the ends on that. That's not going anywhere, but just as a added precaution, I'm gonna cut a couple wedges, jam them in there on this side and that side, and I'll use some of those timber lock screws just to prevent anything from rolling off when we start working off of this pile. But I hit it a few times with the excavator. I just kind of packed them in there nice and tight. Flatter sides on the bottom. It's a real stable pile. I gotta stack them kind of high because space is limited here. But right now, we're gonna go get my truck, hook up to the dump trailer, and we'll go out in the woods there, get a load of that topsoil, get it dumped, and then I think I'll bring the dump trailer over to the wood bunker. Yeah, and we'll load that up tomorrow for a firewood delivery tomorrow afternoon, early evening. Yeah. So I need most of this topsoil up there beside the new driveway and the sidewalk, but I really can't dump it in there without getting it all over the driveway. So I figured I'm just gonna dump it right here. I got some big holes right here. I had some trees here before and I took them out, and then the chickens dug some big holes, which I'm sure they'll be playing in this topsoil for a while. But I'm just gonna dump it right here like I said, and we'll use the mini skid maybe tomorrow. We'll have to see how it goes and get everything spread up there by the house. I was gonna do something like with more river rock, or I don't know. I'm just gonna plant it with some good shade mix, water it, call it good. Now there's still obviously a few roots in here, but I would guess I got about 80% of them out of there just by using that firewood bucket. Worked out pretty good. If you were to buy topsoil here, I mean, that's probably $100 worth of topsoil. Plus, you'd have to go get it. Well, I think it's time for a charge on the trailer. When I took my dump trailer over to Bennett Trailer Sales in Salem, Ohio, we got 4 new tires, a bigger battery, And he added this charger to it right here, which I just love. And you know what? That bigger battery, I haven't charged this the entire time I spread all that rock on the new road. Now, granted, it probably got a little charge off the truck, but those were a bunch of short runs. And this is the first I'm charging it. I just realized that. So Melissa is walking up from the end of the driveway. In the last week, how many times do you think you've done that, Melissa?
I put stuff out at the end of the driveway, probably a good
30 times?
At least.
So she's been cleaning out the attic. I mentioned that earlier, in the garage. And
the garage you kind of have to do for a little while and then walk away and do something else. So I just cleaned out a bookcase, have a bunch of books, but stuff from the attic. Today's more like, right now is media day. So it's CDs, DVDs, and books. Old
CDs, DVDs. Do you know of any use for those? I know some people will.
I Googled it, and it's like you can find a place that might take them for 25 cents. And then I checked around with some retirement places that care for elderly people.
They didn't want them.
They have a lot, yeah. So they weren't looking for any more. You can use them for crafts, but here's the thing: you can. It's all at the end of the driveway. Stop and get it and do whatever you want.
Yeah, I tell you.
I'm not asking a dime. I want rid of it.
I tell you what, it's been very nice though. Like I mentioned earlier, there's been families coming because Eva has a lot of nice clothes that she doesn't wear anymore, and shoes.
It was touching. It was 15, not bags, garbage bags full of clothes from Eva for the last maybe 2 years.
Well, 5. Let's be fair.
Okay, well, yeah, because someone's in the attic. Yeah, I would say maybe 5 years. But
yeah.
Like, the one girl, she was 15, she's honestly like, this is my school shopping. This is great.
She was so excited.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's about it for today's video. You're going to take a break tomorrow, or you're going to stay at it?
You know what? It all depends on the weather.
All
because I think I'm going to go to housewares department next, which is like dishes and.
Are we moving and you didn't tell me or something?
I'll tell you when I'm done.
All right. But anyway, I appreciate y'all being here, and I also want to thank SimpliSafe for sponsoring today's video, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks.